I did what you asked me to do. I went back and added more to it.
You didn't even give me 2 sentences.
I went back and redid it, Cheryl.
I'm gonna let Lucinda introduce herself.
No, you're not. But I did send it. You didn't get it. You told me you got it.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Apparently, I didn't save it as a separate document.
See?
That's okay. Technology.
And you got the one I sent you yesterday, right? With the book cover.
I do. Ricky, you got the book cover? Okay.
I don't know why you didn't get it the first time, but I'm not surprised. Like I say, I have a lot of internet issues out here.
Not hearing the music, so we're going to go start. Get ready, get ready, get ready. It's Let's Talk Business with Sherryl Cusseaux. We are here for the third hour of the hour. So excited to be here today. We have some phenomenal guests that's joining us today. Hey, are you ready? Thank you for taking
recording in progress
with us. Please join us live on Facebook, In Touch News Radio. Facebook Live will also stream on In Touch News YouTube channel, as well as Let's Talk Business with SJC Facebook Live. For those who are taking your lunch break with us, thank you. Please be sure to like and share our posts. You certainly want to take advantage of hearing the experts of our guests today, and you certainly want to check out Toastmasters. So welcome to the show. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, ladies. We can say ladies. Let me tell you a little bit about why we're here. We are delighted to be able to ask them the questions, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how of their organization. But we have a little twist today because these are experts in their field. We have joining us today, DJ CEO, Toastmasters, officers, and members. Sometimes we can do our own today. So let's go ahead and get this show off to what we believe is going to be a phenomenal start. I'll start with Jerry Ann Norton. She's sitting in hot seat number 2 as my co-host. My co-host for the third hour of the day, as you all know, and has been for the last 4 years, is Jeanette Diva J. Horde Smith. She's on assignment. Covering for her today, Jerry Ann Norton. Welcome back. You're no stranger to Let's Talk Business. Welcome back to our show, Jerry Ann.
Thank you very much. And I'm honored and humbled to be able to be in the hot seat.
Well, most people are not humbled to be in a hot seat.
Yeah, well, I am. Just a joy.
It.
Yeah.
I love it. If I were like some of the other podcasters I know, I'd ask you the top 5 questions to see if you will wiggle in the hot seat. But I'll save that. I'll save that for another day when we're just having fun. But because we have so much to cover today, I know that you're going to share with us your expertise, but let me allow my radio audience to know you are Jerry Ann Norton. Norton, you are the president, CEO of JN Insurance Agency, correct?
That is so correct.
Here's what I do know about your company. You insure your clients from birth to glory. Is that correct?
Well, that is absolutely correct. If I can do that, I have plans available that'll do just that.
I love it. Welcome to the show. Jerry Ann is going to help us facilitate the show with some of our other phenomenal guests. And I'm going to go next to a dear friend, long-term friend of mine, Ms. Justine Anderson. Welcome to the show, Justine.
Thank you. I am excited to be here.
Justine, you've been on the show once with a group, I think it was BWBOEE, one of the organizations that we both are a part of. But we have been neighbors on the campus of 5508 for a number of years. I guess I'm your neighbor because if I'm not mistaken, you are the longest tenant on the campus of 5508. Is that
I
correct?
am. That is correct.
Woo,
I've been here over 25 years.
Sorry, how many years?
25 I've been here.
Congratulations.
Thank
You will
you.
definitely have to share with our radio listeners what was so special about that campus that you were born in your business there and you're still there today. That's a testament to you. You certainly are a woman of commitment and longevity. Again, congratulations, Justine, and your company. For those who are joining in, you can't help but see Echelon Computer Technologies, Inc.
Yes.
Just a snippet. I can tell you what, Gloria, I can talk to you a little bit because you certainly have serviced my computers over the years, but just a snippet of what Echelon Computer Technologies does. Justine?
What we do is we are the IT department for companies and families that don't have IT departments. In other words, we sell computers, we build computers to custom specifications. We remove viruses. We repair a lot of screens, whether it's on the phone or tablet, laptop. And now we just started a new program to basically give you peace of mind. It's for home computers. And what we do is monitor computers so that they're working well all the time.
Justine, that's fantastic because we didn't get into this. We are going to talk about it a little later on. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And to hear you say that, you talk about mental health, let something go wrong with your computer. You've certainly repaired mine. You've had to recover them. I remember crying in your office saying, what to do? Can you please find this stuff? And you just have a knack of finding stuff that we can't find, which is why you are the guru when it comes to computer technologies. Thank you and welcome to the show. We'll talk about how you're going to help give us peace of mind when it comes to these systems. We have two more guests. One, and I'll go ahead and say it from the offset, who's traveling on the road. We are certainly hoping that she will be able to chime in with us, and that's Kenyette Godhigh Bell. You definitely want to hear what she has to say about the interesting industry that she's a part of and why she loved Toastmasters. But let's segue on to the president of Toastmasters. Actually, it would be the talk of 5508 Toastmasters. She's the president of our organization, which is on the campus of 5508. And you'll hear the connection and the collaboration of how that all came about. Welcome to the show, Lucinda Askew.
Thank you so much for having
me. The rest of us have been laughing and joking because listen, we can all relax. We're talking to our friends in radio and online global streaming. She didn't say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say she's a phenomenal author. Yes, there's a cover of her book that we're showing now. We'll come back and talk about that in just a minute. But I wanted you to just hear their names, put a face and a name together and see how we at Let's Talk Business, we are so fortunate to be able to bring you individuals with businesses of all types. And you get to learn so much about the people that's right in your neighborhood that you didn't even know. And then more importantly, you get to learn how you too can connect with them and do business with them. Because remember, we're all up in your business. Today, the business is all about Toastmasters. But that being said, usually when we have individuals come on the show, but we have a group today, we always like to ask them a little bit about themselves and their parents, but we have too much meat in this show today. So we're going to just dive right in. And I'll just give you a little more information about our guests. They just kind of gave you a snippet, but some things that you may not have even considered even when you heard them mentioned just a little bit. Say, for instance, Justine Anderson, President and CEO of Echelon Computer Technologies, Inc. If you're listening and you're part of the Facebook chat, be sure to type a message or a question. Where did that name come from? Why did she name her company Echelon Computer Technologies? After 11 years of working in corporate America, she decided it was time to realize her entrepreneurial dreams. What? She created Echelon Computers in January of 1997 as a lower cost, high quality alternative to the large and impersonal computer superstores. Echelon Computers technology has grown to provide a vast array of products and services. And I'm just going to give you a couple. She hit on them. Check this one out. Custom built computers, new and used computers, laptop, tablets, and servers. Listen, this is sales and service. Parts and upgrades. You heard her talk about screen replacement. This is the lady that you want to give a call to for all of your computer technology screens. You'll hear more about her because she is a member of New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, Tampa, Florida, Incorporated, where her pastor is the Reverend Larry L. Roundtree II. She is also a member of BWBOEE, and people always ask, what does that mean? Black women, business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs, and one of the founding members of the Nubian Sisters Book Club and the Talk of 5508 Toastmasters Club. Justine, is there anything you would like to add to our radio listening audience about who you are?
Wow, I think you said pretty much everything.
I did not. Today, this month was Mother's Day. There's something special about that, isn't it, Justine?
Yes, it is. I am a very proud mother of 3 adults and 2 grands.
Justine, congratulations.
Yes, I have a grand dog and a grand puppy. For Mother's Day, we were all together, and it was just a lot of fun.
Really, sounds like a grand celebration.
A grand celebration, yes.
Love it, love it. I love you. I have 2 grand pups myself, and they have more flight hours than I do. But again, welcome to the show, and we're going to talk a little bit about you and hear more about you. But I want to go ahead, and because she is the president of Toastmasters, I mentioned to you that she's an author, she's an entrepreneur, she's a mother. Lucinda, are you a grandmother?
And great grandmother.
Oh my goodness. Then Lucinda, would you share with our radio listening audience something unique that they may not know about you? And I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
How did you find Toastmasters?
It's been a while. Let me go back. I was invited to Toastmasters by Ursula.
Ursula Odom.
Yes. She talked to me about Toastmasters because of something that she had seen me do around town. I don't know if she still does, but she portrayed Mary McLeod Bethune.
She still does.
Okay. And that's how I met her. And she told me about Toastmasters, and I came in and joined and loved it.
Now, you're just a gifted speaker, so this is no stranger to you, but did you feel intimidated when you joined Toastmasters, or even before you joined Toastmasters?
I've always been a person behind the scenes. So yes, I was a little bit intimidated.
Okay, and I asked the question because we want our radio listening audience to know, and people who are thinking about speaking, our hot topic is so key, because we really do want to help you find your voice. And oftentimes people do, they're behind the scenes. Somebody else can take care of that. I'll get done what needs to be done. That's what I am good at. That's my wheelhouse. And then at some point you meet people and they say, you really got to come out of that shell. This is what you need to do. And I love being able to hear your perspective as we delve a little further into who Lucinda Askew is. Will you share just a little bit more, Lucinda, about yourself?
Yes, I am well known in Tampa Bay area for being a speech coach, somebody that works with children. I believe that a child that speaks well will go far in life. And one thing I believe in doing is polishing up my technique for them. So I knew that Toastmasters would be the perfect place to get that done. So that's another reason why I joined Toastmasters.
I love that. And I'll share something with you that you may not know, because I believe when I joined Toastmasters, you were not a member.
Correct.
When I was in college, I took extemporaneous speaking. I used to speak as a child, but I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to refine my delivery. I wanted to fine tune the art of speaking and to be more professional. And then learn how, on the drop of a dime, if you have to speak, you should always have a speech ready. And I want our radio listening audience to know we all come to Toastmasters for different reasons, but we can share with you collectively about where we are today with the skill sets that we learned being members of Toastmasters. And that being said, there's a young lady on our show who is the greatest cheerleader for Toastmasters that I have been exposed to. Some of you all may have your favorites, but wherever this person is, she always talks about Toastmasters. That's why she's my co-host today. So Jerry Ann, can you help us delve into the roles and the responsibilities and the whom, the objectives, the goals of Toastmasters a little bit more to our radio listening audience about Toastmasters? Jerry Ann, you have the mic.
Well, absolutely. I'm happy to share and just encourage everyone to know that Toastmasters is very near and dear to my heart. When I came to open my business here at 5508 and found out that there was a Toastmasters club here, I was sold. I was like, I'm in the right place, because Toastmasters, for me, I first encountered it at one of the corporate employers that I work for. And I just want to share that I joined Toastmasters because I didn't like having a day off in the middle of the week. So on Tuesdays, there was Toastmasters and I signed up for it. So I could never have Tuesday off, no. But I joined it and I absolutely loved it. Didn't know that I've never been frightened to get up and speak. Must be a natural knack. But some of the benefits of being a Toastmaster is you learn how to sharpen your speaking skills. I learned very early that the ahs and the ums when you're speaking is very annoying. I hate to say this, but in the world of sports, I'm not going to mention any one sport, but I've noticed that when they're speaking, they could really use Toastmasters. Because once you become accustomed to Toastmasters, you get a trained ear. Yes. So you can hear when a person is speaking and every other word is you don't want to come across like that. So the main goal of Toastmasters is to have you, or to learn how to sharpen those speaking skills, to get the butterflies out of your stomach when you stand up before a crowd and you got to speak. So yes, don't always be in the back of the room. Come to the front of the room.
Ooh.
So that you can hear. Don't miss anything. And the speeches are, we learn a lot at the Talk of 5508 Toastmasters Club. We are more like a family.
Okay.
And I think those relationships matter. It is what helps propel us and to keep us engaged. So I just love Toastmasters, and I'm your girl. I will I will. You'll see me walking around here with a mask that says Toastmasters. I have one of those. So yes, I just love the club, and I encourage anybody, if they're thinking about it, I'm the person to contact. I'm gonna say that now. Put it out there now.
Wow.
I'm the person to contact. Then I'll put you in touch with Justine.
Oh my goodness, Lucinda, as president, you have to be excited about having a person like Jerry and as a part of your officer cabinet.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
She keeps me in line. If I don't know something, she's well educated about Toastmasters to keep me in line and to keep the club going. And she's a great backup person for me. This entire year that I've been president, I couldn't have asked for a better vice president.
That is just awesome. Congratulations, Jerry Ann. But
Thank
listen,
you.
I see that our fourth guest has chimed in to our live, and we'll take a segue and we'll let her tell you about what she's doing. Oh, wait, you guys can see her. She's in work mode. She's actually driving her rig. I see you waving. Are you able to chat with us, or you want me to go ahead and talk more about you, Kenyette?
I can chat for a few moments if that's what you want to do. I'm about to pull off, but not yet. Can you hear me okay?
Since we hear you fine. Since we have you for a few minutes, we're going to take this opportunity. Girl, you are driving your own rig.
I am. It's pretty amazing.
I
would have never thunk it. I would have never thunk it. 5 years ago, I've been driving 5 years.
5 years. Well, let's take this opportunity for you to just share with our radio listening audience. You just opened up a whole new arena of what women can do. And I know it's a very, very low totem pole of women in the trucking industry, because we have another colleague that comes on once a year and she's in the bare minority. So please tell us a little bit about your company while we have you, the name of your company, and how did you get into this business, Kenyette?
Well, the name of my company is Bellwether Investment Group, DBA Bellwether Logistics. And so that's the transportation arm. I do power only, which means that I don't have a trailer. So I take my truck and I pick up trailers for other companies. I primarily right now do business with Amazon. I try to do things locally, but I did take a load that took me to Dublin, Georgia, and then Atlanta. So I'm in a town south of Atlanta, really kind of like Noonan, about to pick up a load next door shortly. And so I primarily service the Southeast, and I try to go between Georgia and Florida. I like that run pretty much. How I got into it was that I was a realtor, and I still have my real estate license under Ann Thompson, but I was looking for something else that was a little bit more fulfilling. Yay, Ann Thompson. Something that's a little bit more fulfilling. I like different challenges. So if I think of something, I think I can do anything. So I've driven motorcycles and done all kinds of different things. So this was the next thing. And so as I started doing my research, I found out that there were almost 300,000 female drivers. Wow. And I wanted to get you wouldn't think so, but there are a lot. And there are, well, it's still less than 10%, but there are a lot more than you would think. And we're in all capacities and all ages. So my trainer for my first company was 60 years old, 4'11", and just a fireball. So I find that a lot of women do this after their children get out of high school, and they're like, you know what? I always wanted to do it. Now there's nothing holding me back, and I'm doing it. So I didn't have that particular scenario, but I thought, well, as I found out that there's so many women doing it, I thought, well, why not? So I launched out and went to school down in Pinellas at Pinellas Tech. And I ended up finishing. It was a great program, and I ended up out in Nebraska, which is not what I was trying to do, but you got to do what you got to do. And so at some point, it was my goal to get my own truck and also to get my own company. So that's what I'm doing now, and I do it as needed. So I'm kind of part-time as I'm working on some other things with grad school and Toastmasters to hone my speaking skills, to do some other things that God has for me to do.
Oh, congratulations. And I love the fact that you said
Yeah.
Toastmasters and honing in on your speaking skills and what else God has for you to do. I think that's phenomenal. And ladies, if you all don't mind, let's pivot even further while we have Kenyette on with us live, because she's going to be getting back into her rig mode.
Yeah.
How did you end up finding, Kenyette? Walk us through why Toastmasters. I know you said you wanted to polish up or refine your speaking skills. And how did you find the Talk of 5508?
Well, I have always been what the old folks call a talkaboo. I've been talking a long time and not getting paid for it. And so sometimes I don't always say the right thing, but I never meet a stranger and normally don't have a shortage of words. So I ran across, well, I knew of Toastmasters, and I had started working through Ann Thompson with the group that teaches you the business of speaking. I can't think of the name. And so they said, well, Toastmasters will teach you the art or the technical aspects of speaking. And so I had visited with a chapter in Pinellas, really maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and then I wasn't able to go back. And so I happened to be at 5508 for your niece Letitia's real estate seminar for first-time home buyers, because I wanted to find out what's new, what's going on in the industry. And then I got recruited, and I think it was you that was like, hey, why don't you just stick around? This is what we're going to be doing next. And I thought, well, okay, why not? You got food, you got talking, I'm there, chat and chew. So that was the open house, maybe September. And so that's how I got connected with 5508. And so I've been connected ever since. And I joined, I believe I officially was able to join in the last couple of months. And so I am on a presentation history pathway so that I can hone my speaking skills and learn how to speak more effectively, more succinctly, and with real purpose, on purpose.
Love that. That's a speech in and of itself. Justine,
Yeah,
I know a lot
thank
of times in Toastmasters, you're welcome. You're usually, and Hope Stewart, you guys, especially Hope Stewart, she loves to be the Toastmaster hot topic champion of the day. And she's so good with, table topics. My show is hot topics, but table topics. So you gotta love people like Kenyette. But Kenyette, sit tight. We just wanted to glean all that we could from you after you've shared your purpose for wanting to be a member of Toastmasters. We're going to segue back to my co-host, and that is, I was about to say Diva J, to Jerry Ann. And Jerry Ann, let's just delve into, since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess all of us play a role as an officer in Toastmasters. But will you go ahead and kind of define the roles of our Toastmaster officers and decide how you want us to respond to each of those tasks and responsibilities? Joanne?
Well, absolutely. I'll start with me. My role is the Vice President of Education. And it is my responsibility to teach. So I observe in the meetings, and I'll pick out certain things that need to be pointed out, and I will do it. Not to belittle anyone, but it is my job to educate. Because if you don't know, you just don't know. But it's a point of making you become better, or be more aware of what the goals are for being a Toastmaster. The role of president, which I've held before a couple of times, but Lucinda has a heavy role because You have to be that leader that everybody looks up to. You have to, because that's who's going to get the fingers pointed at them. It's just like a preacher. You know, it's it's inevitable. So the success of the club makes the president looks better or more successful. The role of the treasurer, well, that's the money person. That person is responsible for maintaining and making sure our budget is up to par, and let us know when we might be in trouble too. So that's important to know as well.
Well, Jerry, is it expensive to join Toastmasters?
No, it is not. Right now, you can join for either 6 months or a year. And on average, that's $45 for 6 months and $90 for the year.
That's very affordable.
Yes, yes. So most people will go for the 6 months, but somebody like me, I will in the future, I'll probably go ahead and just do it for the year and not worry about it. We do have a member, she's not here, we call her Miss Wonderful. And as an example, Miss Wonderful joined and she paid up for the year. So
Awesome.
I don't know, I wish I could, she may be listening in, but she's just absolutely wonderful. So
just like her name.
Just like her name. Her name is Wonderful. And Justine has the role of secretary right now. She's responsible for jotting down the notes and making sure we have everything written down, pointing out certain things. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I caught myself.
Well, aren't you allowed a couple of R's?
No.
Well, as you are, I mean, it's just human nature for us to do that. But when you're up and professionally speaking, I don't know who may be listening. Some people don't even pick up on it at all. And I think that's a falsy, if there's such a word. Oh, speaking of that, we have grammarian also.
Yes.
The grammarian is responsible for making sure we are utilizing the English language in the proper way. And also to pick out any unique phrases and point those out too. And the word of the day is given by the grammarian. And we are to incorporate that in our speaking, in our impromptu table topics, and our not education, I'm sorry, in our evaluations of the speaker. So, and we count how many times we use that word. And then we encourage you to go out for the rest of the week and use that word. So
well, can we ask, we'd like to hear a little perspective, since she's here, we have the president here, and you've explained the roles so eloquently of those key officers. But I'd like to pivot to President Lucinda, ask you, what has it been like? Because you're saying you've almost completed a full year of serving as president of the Talk of 5508. Lucinda?
It's very challenging. Everybody have their own ideas of what things are supposed to be. But what I love about this particular club is that we're all family and we're able to discuss things and get them out in the open and handle them in a, very prospective way. Now, what I do love is Hope is our sergeant at arms. She starts the meetings and she also ends the meetings, but she does more than that. She is so spiritually, Holy Spirit led. There are times when you can see things might get a little heated. Hope will say, let's just stop and pray. Let's just end this right now. And I love that about her. And I love the fact that when we're going through something and she knows it and she can see it on our faces, our tone, she doesn't mind stopping and saying, let's pray for this person, let's pray for that person. It's always nice to have that Holy Spirit led person in there to keep us in line and always to make sure that we're blessed and we can do things in a godly way. So that's one of the things that I love about the club.
And I love that because as president, you then get to, because you are a Christian, but as president, you get to also chime in and hold the group together as well.
That's correct.
because you're a phenomenal businesswoman. You're a phenomenal leader. Listen, you take no prisoners in your leadership
No, I do not.
skills.
I try not to, let me put it like that.
I think it's just natural.
I think so too.
And that's a beautiful thing. As president, what would you say to someone in our radio listening audience who they're hearing us talk about this family unit, the Talk of 5508? Justine will come back and talk from a founder's perspective. And if we get a minute, perhaps we can have Kenyette come back and do like a icebreaker or table topic for us so that our radio listening audience can hear what that's like. But that being said, Lucinda, what would you want one of our radio listening audience members to know about Toastmasters?
Toastmasters brings you to the forefront of being an excellent speaker, excellent leader. So I would think that if that's something you have a goal for, this is a place for you. But everybody should want to speak well. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you that. I never realized about the arms and the ahs until I started Toastmasters, but now I try to make sure that I don't do it. If you remember, you heard a speaker or something one day when we had a meeting and you were saying you never realized that until now and how they were getting on your nerve. and that's a good thing. And I love it because I can teach my boys from the MOT program that I work with monthly how annoying that is, and then make sure that they're not doing it. So it's something you can pick up on to make your skills of speaking more of a perfection for you.
And I love that. And you're absolutely right. We heard Justine talk about, not Justine, but Jerry Ann talk about the sports industry. But listen, you can take that all the way up to the highest office in the country.
Absolutely.
If you want to hear some arms and some O's, oh my goodness. In the first 5 minutes, they will max out. And,
absolutely.
But here's what I like. Since I've learned that task and put forth an effort to listen to myself before I speak, then we get to share with others in a very eloquent way.
Yes.
And for the most part, they do not realize that they do it.
Absolutely.
And I love that. Thank you so much. But we're just going to segue a little bit because, again, we were so excited to get Kenyette on. But we were talking about Toastmasters, but let's just back this rig up a little bit. Kenyette, let us know if you're going to be ready to speak. And if so, do you need a couple of minutes? Oh, look, thumbs up. You know what we called it? She had another term for it, but my grandparents would always say, and I didn't realize this until maybe a little before Toastmasters. People would say to my grandparents, your granddaughter has a gift, the gift of gab. I didn't think they were literally meaning a gift, but it really is. It is one of our spiritual gifts. And that's a beautiful gift to have when you realize it's a gift. But that being said, Kenyette has it. Let's segue to Justine, because we're talking about Toastmasters, but Justine, founding member, what in the world even entice you to want to even be a part of such a group? Because I remember you being a very shy person when I met you.
That's probably
Justine.
true, as I still am. I'm still an introvert.
Okay, introvert, good word.
Let me start a little farther back. Toastmasters started back in 1924 by Ralph Smedley out in Colorado. It's an international speaking organization. It helps to improve our speaking skills as well as leadership. There are over 14,000 Toastmasters clubs throughout the world, and I think that's in over 144 countries.
Wow.
As far as our club, the Talk of 5508 Toastmasters Club, Ursula Odom, I think we talked about her earlier.
Yes.
She came into my office. Her office was also here at 5508. She came into my office and said, I used to be a part of a Toastmasters club. There's not one that meets near me or in the time that I want to meet. Let's start a let's start a Toastmasters club. And I said, you know, I was a Toastmaster as well years ago. Let's do it. We wanted something that was for us, by us. When we started, and I think currently all of us are entrepreneurs, and we really pride ourselves in helping each other get better. Of all the Toastmasters clubs I've been a part of and have visited, we're very family oriented. We really are family. We love each other. And we love to see each other. I love seeing someone grow. Going from the shy, let me try to get a couple words out. Let me just get through Toastmasters and live to becoming very polished speakers.
That's awesome. So you've heard about the beginning. Shout out to the campus of 5508 Collaborative. It is a phenomenal group, small business incubator, but we also have anchor businesses out there as well. Over 40 plus businesses are housed on the campus of 5508. And at one point in time, we had a physician, a lawyer, a tax accountant. You had a computer sales, and whatever we needed, you could find it, and including boutiques, hair salon, the ML King Parade Foundation, and the list goes on and on. But to have it in a campus like that, where you can walk out of your suite at one point in time, my admit is on point. The THAP group. Thank you so much, Ricky. And that being said, to have conversations where we can have a meeting like Toastmasters, and we could go over and have coffee and talk about the meeting and support each of our business owners, we became a family. Definitely. And family members that we can connect with even after they leave the campus. We are still a family. And this is a very, very special group. I am so glad Ursula Odoms approached you, Justine, and Jeanette Bradley, and allowed us to be able to start the very first Toastmaster group called The Talk of 5508. And we have always said things are happening on the campus of 5508. That being said, we have a Toastmaster member here. We were talking about some of the things that we do. Jerry Ann was going over some of those. Let's talk about table topics. And who would like to give Kenyette a table topic so that our radio listening audience will know what goes on in one of our meetings and what makes it so much fun, especially when you're given a topic and you have to talk on it for 2 to 3 minutes. Jerry Ann?
Well, all right. Kenyette, I have to admire all of the attributes that you portray. I don't think I'd ever want to become a truck driver. Well, girl, I gotta tell you, you are very impressive. Absolutely. So I'd like to know, if you had to impress upon another person to get into the trucking business, how would you sell that person on becoming or getting into the trucking business? What would be the benefit? Kenyette, did we lose her?
She might be muted.
Are you muted, Kenyette? And while she's getting ready to come forward, Lucinda, would you be her evaluator?
Of course.
Because one of the exercises in Toastmasters, whether you're giving a speech that you're working on towards your goals and objectives, being a member of the club, we have selected speakers that come in each week. You know what you're going to speak on, you know the amount of time you have to speak, and then we have table topics. And this is what keeps us sharp. But at any rate, any speech, we will always have an evaluator so that that person will know how well they delivered their speech. Kenyette, are you back with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back.
Did you hear my question?
We're ready for you.
I did. Thank you, fellow Toastmaster Jerry Ann. So one of the things that I find really important is for women to get into this industry. And I know that there are a lot of opportunities for us, and it is a pretty phenomenal thing for women to do because the industry is male dominated and they really don't want us here. So to be able to get into this industry, it has many benefits. So one, you can put on that hat that, hey, I can do it too. It gives you the opportunity to make more money than you will make on any other job normally, and more money than most people will make in a lifetime. Depending on which avenue you go in, you have a certain amount of autonomy. So if you're a solo driver working for a company, you can have the opportunity to really see the United States. You can get your own truck and have a little bit more freedom, or you can get your own company and have even more freedom and have conversations more about the money. You're more in control of your money. So I think that it is something that is very beneficial, especially for women. And a lot of companies are looking for women because they get extra tax breaks for having a double minority, a woman, and especially a woman of color.
Yes.
It is something that I would recommend for those who are not afraid to be by themselves and who like their own company. Some people do ride with someone else, and that's fine. But for me, I prefer to be by myself. So it is certainly an industry that I would recommend for those who want to do something different. And it's a skill that no one can take away from you. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
So Cheryl asked Justine to be her evaluator.
No,
Justine, or was it Lucinda?
Lucinda.
Lucinda, I'm sorry. I'm so used to Justine evaluating everybody. But President Lucinda, can you go ahead and share your evaluation of what her response was?
Yes, I can. And also I like to point out to Cheryl that table topics is really an impromptu speech. You have not been prepared for it, but it is introduced to you by title only.
Yes.
So then you're graded or evaluated on how well you can present that to someone without having to study it or go about certain things to get people to understand. So as far as I'm doing this for Kenyette, her speech was about how do you convince somebody to do what you do, which is the trucking industry for her, and get them to come aboard. So first of all, I'd like to say, Kenyette, that your clarity was perfect. The animation worked well with what you were saying, and the knowledge of your information was fantastic and very knowledgeable. Excellent job.
Excellent job. And she's on the road in her rig. And as Lucinda said, she had no idea what the table topic was going to be about. This is the type of fun that we have in the talk of 5508. Jerrianne, that was just phenomenal. Back to you. Anything that you want to add? And let's just go back and say to, let me rephrase, Kenyette, thank you so much for joining us today. You got a load, you're bringing back to Florida, but you took time out of your busy schedule. I'm impressed that truckers get to do so much. And I love the fact that you can travel all over the world and get things done your way. I hope my daughter is listening in. I'll have to shout her out in just a minute because she and her husband just started their trucking company up in North Dakota. Lucinda,
oh, wow.
No, I can't, but that's
congratulations.
Great.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to come on and share.
You are more than welcome. We thank you and Godspeed, safe travels. Still continue to join in with us. And if you feel like you want to chime in on a subject matter that we're covering, we only have a few minutes left for the show. I am just so excited to be able to share what goes on inside of our club with our radio listening audience, and to have 4 Toastmasters, technically 5 on the show, is just phenomenal. But Jerrianne, I know specifically you wanted to cover the importance of communication, some things that we can pay attention to in just our daily, everyday modality of communicating with people. Jerry Ann?
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I wanted to just share about ways to communicate. And if you will, pardon me in saying communicate etiquette. I
Okay.
feel that it is important. We can communicate now with technology by way of email, telephone, you leave a voicemail, text. And I'm just going to say, to respond back or to respond to a text, a phone call, a message is really good, because if you don't, then that's going to pose some mental stress on whoever that person is that sent the message, because you're still out there in wonderland. You don't know. So it's important to acknowledge. I call it also, there are people that you will send a text to and you hear nothing. I've learned how to read the signs of silent communication. That just means I'm not interested. I don't have to respond. That's because you're not educated on how important that is, or you missed it somewhere. But being a professional, not only a professional, but in your everyday life, be courteous. It's just the proper thing to do. And as a Toastmaster, when we are structuring how we are going to have our upcoming meetings, you have to realize it takes effort to make sure that text message gets out to everyone. We want to confirm things, and it's important to us being a more professional organization. Or you want to do that for your church. I'm involved in my church a lot, and where my pastor is the Dr. Bishop Ronald J. Anderson. Even there, when we're on committees and we're planning things, you send out a message and nobody responds, especially if you're having a fifth Sunday and you got all this food that you had planned a menu for. By the way, that's one of the things that got us into Toastmasters. When I joined the club, it was a lunchtime, and I was like, where's the food? Where's the food? And I began, they gave me a name of the food master. So I wear that title too. So, but my point is, just communicate. Do the right thing. Take responsibility. You know, you want to be responsible. We're all adults. Sometimes some of the children, even them, it's important to instill in the child to respond to a text message nowadays, or whatever. A letter. Sometimes we have to send out a letter. Respond to the letter. Don't just throw it in file 13, for those of you that are from my era.
Well, you know, a Toastmaster typically will have to explain what something like that is about. This is just a very short show. And I want to thank you, Jerry Ann, for putting a little more emphasis on the responsibility to all of us as communicators. And that there's nothing more annoying that you send a text message or an email and no one, or a phone call and no one responds to it. It's just common courtesy. And I wanted to be able to allow Justine to come back as one of the founding members and share with us. And we'll hear lastly from Lucinda as she will share about mental health and how Toastmasters can connect with that. But Justine, tell us what's coming up, what's happening next with Toastmasters, what can we look forward to, when do you guys meet? Justine, you have the mic.
We meet on Tuesdays. Every week we are virtual, so we're online through Zoom. And on the first and fourth Tuesdays, we're in person here on campus at 5508 in Suite 24.
Awesome.
Coming up, we are learning and growing. And in June, we're having an open house. It's June 10th at 1 p.m. here at 5508 North 50th Street in Suite 24. We will have food, fun. We'll show you how Toastmasters works. You'll get to hear some amazing speakers. And of course, there will be refreshments. So we are excited about that.
That's enough to be excited about. That means we've talked about the campus of 5508. Now you have a perfect opportunity, and I'll let that invitation come from our president. Thank you, Justine. Thank you, Kenyette. Thank you, Jerry Ann, for being my co-host. President Lucinda, you're inviting the community to come to your house on the campus of 5508. What say you?
I say you should come. If
You
you
should.
want to be a good speaker, if you're wondering how to take on your leadership roles, be a professional speaker, or just be a professional in general, this is the place for you to be. Not shy. You may come shy, but you won't leave shy. I can guarantee you that. So I love it. And I love the fact that I'm sharing it with so many young people, because their mindset is where we can train them to be better speakers before they get to be adults. And that's what's so exciting for me in this role that I'm doing. I
love that. Now, you're training our youth. Is that open to the public, or you specifically work with a private group of youth?
Normally, I'm hired to work with private groups.
Okay.
But I take all my techniques that I've learned from Toastmasters to them.
Okay, but a group can hire you. An organization can hire you.
Yes,
how can they reach out to you, Lucinda? Is that information that we can share?
Yes. It's area code 813-966-4041. That is my personal phone number that they can get in touch with me with.
Oh, y'all special. She's giving you her personal cell number. So if you are a leader at a church or an organization, there's a great opportunity to incorporate her program into what's happening. She's invited you to come out to the campus of 5508. We will attach that open house invitation with our thank you post, and we appreciate that. Jerry Ann, final thoughts, and then we'll go straight to, oh wait, Lucinda, before that, mental health. It's Mental Health Month. What would you say to our radio listening audience that will help them, and how can Toastmasters help them deal with mental health?
Toastmasters is a communication form that you learn. So when you're a good speaker, that will draw attention to people. And I find out that mental health is everywhere, and we need to be able to talk and communicate with it so people can understand it better. Say, for instance, when I met Ms. Jerry, she elaborated on her breast cancer. I myself have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. I've lost 2 of my children. So I began to talk to people about the loss of their children. So it's so many different things and so many different titles that we can talk about that relate to mental health.
And hearing it come from you, it's our experiences, our life experiences that we get to speak on, and then we become advocates for those particular areas of our life, whatever journey God has chosen that path for us. And it helps us, especially if it's a grievance situation, especially if you're going through a life-changing situation. Today is a phenomenal day for me, but I'll share that with you. Final thoughts, Justine.
Final thoughts. It's really been exciting and fun just to be able to share with everyone a little bit about our Toastmasters Club, the talk of 5508 here at 5508.
You're at 5508.
Really
love it.
Pleasure.
Love it, love it. Thank you, Justine. Jerry Ann, final thoughts?
Yes, it is an absolute, and I mean an absolute pleasure to have done this show today. And I'm so happy I took the challenge of being your co-host. I'm sure we conveyed a lot of important points today, and I hope he that has an ear listen to it. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. I did want to say one last thing. I am also a member of the Sisters Network of Tampa Bay. We're a breast cancer survivor group, and I hold a position of vice president there. So that's another feather in my hat, a leadership role. So I'm very, very passionate about being in leadership. So I want to be the best example. I want to be that example that's sitting up on the hill. I'm not going to preach. But however, become a Toastmaster. Come join us.
Come join us. So you've been invited by all of them. We've heard from all of our specials. I was talking about life-changing in the fact that 35 years ago today, God blessed my husband and I. I wanted a daughter. I had three boys. Did I have three boys? I had two sons. Wanted three, but I had two sons. I so Lucinda wanted a daughter. You all know my daughter. All of you know my daughter, actually. So I want to wish a happy birthday to Mrs. Alana Cusseaux Oliver Norris. She's probably gallivanting in some country somewhere. Happy 35th birthday to you, my love. We love you so much. And I was blessed to marry my incredible husband, who gave me two beautiful daughters. He likes to call them his Alpha and Omega, and they were both born on the same day. So happy birthday to our oldest daughter, Eureka Cusseaux. Love these girls. I have a cousin goddaughter that's also born on this day. It's a very special day. You all may know someone that's born on this day. We want to say happy birthday to all of the maid.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to say congratulations. The high school and college graduations have started. Next month, we will shout out some of our family members who have graduates in their classes. We want to be able to do that. And as we wind down, I was looking to hear from DJC. We're going to go ahead because we are on Zoom. I want to give a shout out to one of our graduates, and you all know this young man. He's the grandson of Gwen Hayes, the publisher at the Florida Sentinel. And Gwen has been the publisher of Florida Sentinel for many, many years. She was also the parade grand marshal for the ML King Parade. This young man's name is Cameron Hayes. Cameron has been attending a boarding school for about the last 5 years. He received a phenomenal award this past Sunday. What a Mother's Day gift from his school called the Macaulay School. You guys can Google it and look it up. But I wanted to share this special speech. Ricky, are we able to cue it up? And this is how we're going to sign off. To all of you, we say thank you for tuning in today to Let's Talk Business. Listen, here's a perfect opportunity of finding your voice. Cameron. God bless y'all.
We can't hear it, Cheryl.
Oh, as we're waiting on the audio to come on, Ricky, he's also the son of Cosman Hayes. They're in Atlanta. She practices law there. Are we able to get it back, Ricky? If not, because I know we're live, we'll try one.
That you all noticed with me for a short period of time, Matthew 2:13 through 15. And it reads like this. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt. And be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. 14, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. 15, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. I would, for this time I've been allotted, into Mr. Burns, Dean Scholl, Mr. Newbold, Dean McCauley, all faculty, staff, class members, family, and friends gathered, talk today from the topic, Head to Egypt. In our text, we find a man with his family. His wife has just given birth to her first child. They have just welcomed their first visitors. There is peace in their life's valley. But in the midst of this great peace, the voice of God calls to Joseph and tells him to leave peace and head for Egypt. This, I believe, in my imagination, must have startled Joseph. Why did this startle Joseph, you ask me? Well, earlier in this text and in other parallel texts, we find that Joseph's ancestral home is Bethlehem. That's the place where they are. And Bethlehem is where Joseph grew and learned what it meant to be a man. In Bethlehem, Joseph was comfortable, but God told Joseph to leave Bethlehem because it was not conducive for his growth and his family's growth. I say all that to say this, classmates. We are like Joseph. This school, Macaulay, is our Bethlehem for some of us. This place can be considered an ancestral home. For those of you all in this group, Macaulay was on your radar before you knew what Macaulay was. But for others of us, and I'm in this group, Macaulay really isn't an ancestral home, but regardless of how we got here, we all have grown here, learned here, and loved the place and the people. And now we're being told by the powers that be that this space we are in, we can be in no longer, and that knowledge is scary and it hurts. But in the midst of the hurt, we must be like Joseph, in verse 14, and arise and take ourselves to Egypt. Now, why must we go to Egypt? Well, in the text, we find that Egypt is the place of safety. Egypt isn't safe because it's a beautiful land. It's safe because it's the place where you grow. Now, my brothers of Macaulay Class 2023, we must recognize that we are heading to an unknown world called Egypt. One that can give us experiences and opportunities that this Bethlehem could not afford us. Not because it didn't want to afford it to us, but because it was not created to afford those to us. In Egypt, we will learn and grow new things and new people. We will experience cultures that run contradictory to ours, but we must go. We must go to learn the world. We must go to experience something new so that our ministry to the world and service to others is not from a privileged standpoint. We must learn and go and grow so we can relate to people who know nothing of our Bethlehem. Because our service is not limited here. Our service is a worldwide service. That's why we say man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever. So I want you all to head to Egypt, learn in Egypt, be tempted, tried, and challenged in Egypt. But there's good news. In verse 15, our Egypt will not last forever. Egypt is not a permanent place. It's not a place where we are to make our home. Egypt is the place where we go. But verse 15 says, one day we shall be called from Egypt and called back to Bethlehem, where we can rejoice with each other and say, it's good to see you again. So until I see you all again, head to Egypt, grow in Egypt, and do one.
Amen. Thank you, Cameron Hayes. This young 17-year-old, soon to be 18-year-old, gave us a very, very important message. And to me, that's the epitome of Toastmasters. Congratulations to all of you. We'll share the link. Cameron won. It's kind of like the presidential award. And you saw the caliber of students at his school, and it is the highest award one of the young men could receive. He has been that way pretty much all of his little life. So congratulations to his mother, Cosman Hayes, to his grandparents, James and Gwendolyn Hayes, and to our Tampa Bay community. That's our son. To all of you, thank you. This show is a wrap. Thank you, DJ Host.